Hey there, welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to connect our furniture app to the remote database. So for that I am going to add some dependencies first. So let's add a networking library called retrofit, and there is a dependency called JSON, which is a converter factory for our retrofit that will convert our JSON data to make that JSON data understandable for our retrofit library. Okay, so I have added both of the libraries, and I'm going to add now the JSON library. Okay, so for the both library the version code are same. Okay, it's 2.9.0, and this same version code work for retrofit too. So let's replace it and make it 2.9.0. okay, and now you can sync it, and later on we will add some dependencies for coroutines also to make our retrofit call, networking call in background. So for that I am going to get that dependency one of my project called Cocktail app. Okay, you can also get that application from on my GitHub repository, and I have also created a full detailed project about Cocktail app. This is fully based on API, so you can also check that out. Okay, now it's time to get the coroutine means version code for this library. So let's copy it also, and we need to replace the double, means we need to replace that double quotation in a single quotation. Okay, because when we directly pass the version code, then we need to specify like that. And now let's sync our project, and after that we are ready to go. So guys, let's organize this project first. So for organizing this project I am going to create several packages first, because you guys know how I love to organize projects. And I'm also going to provide a dependency for my retrofit library. Okay, because this is must. When you perform any networking operation, then it is must to provide a dependency, and also you have to create some singletons for that class, because if you don't create singleton for your networking library, then that networking library going to create a single instance for every networking call. I hope you got the point. And also I'm going to organize my state, API call state. That means if data is loading, then this class will notify me is data loading, or is data means if I got the data or not, or if our networking library makes some error, and all this kind of stuff. This API call state going to be hold. Okay, and throughout that we will get all the data, means if any error occurred throughout API calling, then we will got the message from that data class. Okay, so I'm going to create a success data class, and this class going to be a generic class. Okay, because I'm not going to create a separate state for every API calls. Okay, I'm going to make a generic, and I'm going to use this generic class, shield class, for every API call. Okay, and I'm also going to create a generic for make our networking call suspended. Okay, so if you don't know how to do, because this is a very important if you are an Android developer, and you must know all of these things, because if you don't know, then what you do is you make first of all you make a singleton for means first of all you make a separate instance for your networking library, and you what do is you create a state for every API call. Okay, and there are lots of things we are going to cover. So for now we are making our state. So I am going to get my error in the error data class, as you can see here, and this error data type is a generic, okay, as you can see here. So I am going to pass the error as a string, but it's a generic, so I can contain any type data, means I can pass any type of error in that data class, okay. And I'm also going to contain a loading state, and this will return nothing to our means state class, okay. And I'm also going to create as I said you that I am also going to create a network calling function for my every API call. That networking call function going to suspend all of my network calls, okay. So for that I have created a API response, and I'm going to create a function, and this function also going to be a generic function, okay. So this will return T, okay. And in the parameter of that function I am going to create a high level function, okay, which will be going to a suspended function, and that function is responsible for means I'm going to pass later on my API's call inside that function, and rest of the things this function going to be do automatically, and I don't have to do anything. So as you can see here, I have created a high level function, and this function will going to be return a response, and that is also a generic type, okay. And I'm going to use coroutine flow for that, and later on I use that flow to emit my data, okay, throughout that function. Means this function going to be return some flow, okay. And inside that flow I am going to emit the data which I got throughout the API calling. Means if I got any response, then I am going to emit the response data inside that function, and if I got any error, so I am going to emit error throughout that function. And if this function got called, then I am going to emit some loading state. Means the function means this function will let me know that I am loading, means I have requested some calls to the server, okay. So this will going to be return a loading state. So as you can see here, I am going to emit some loading state first, and this will let me know that, because this flow return data as a live data, okay. So later on I can simply got the live response, means I can observe that data wherever I want, okay. So after that I'm going to create instance, means object for my call, and I have made simply a check. If data is not null, then means let me go inside that function, okay. And I'm going to check also if it dot is successful, means if the request is successful, then I got the response body, and I'm going to return that response body to the my flow state. And as you can see in that function, I have returned a flow, and that flow is a API call state, okay. So later on I'm able to get all the state throughout that flow, okay. So I have simply emit, okay, a state called API call state dot success. Means if it dot is successful, means the API calling is successful now, and I'm going to simply emit the data which I got in the body of API response, okay. So I will simply make a check. I'm going to check the data. If c dot body not equals to null, then simply return the data inside the flow state, okay. So let me remove all these things, and simply I'm going to pass that emit inside the body of the check, and I'm going to simply make this not null. Okay. Okay, now let's handle our error procedure. So for that I'm going to do all these things inside the else block, and I'm also going to perform a let check, null check actually. Okay, and in the body if error dot means I'm simply going to close the error, and I'm also going to return if I got any error throughout API call inside my API call state. So for that I have simply called API call state dot error, and I'm going to pass the error, means I'm going to pass the error in the T. Okay, if you remembered, then I make T inside my generic API call state. Okay, and as I told you, I can pass any type of data inside that T. Okay, so I'm doing exactly like that. I'm going to pass a string inside that T. Okay, I don't have to specify inside it, means I don't have to make that error as a string, means I hope you got the point. Okay, so I'm going to means I am now eligible to pass any kind of data, and now I'm going to cast this error dot string as a T. Okay, because I want to let that means that body know I was simply passing T, means treat as a T. Okay, so I think I'm done with this now. Okay, so now I'm going to create some, means I'm going to simply provide a dependency for my retrofit, as I told you, because this is very important. Okay, if you don't do it like this, then your app going to be suffer a lot, because it this will going to be create many type of instance, means many instance for your single library. So this is a bad practice, so you have to do it like that. Okay, so simply make a module for that, and that module going to be called when installed. Okay, and this is the annotation for install in, and I'm going to call singleton component and class. Okay, and later on I'm going to simply provide and make that function as a suspended function. Sorry, suspended means singleton function. Okay, and now I'm going to simply revert my API call. Okay, and I have to create a API call. In that API call I will simply perform all my API call operations. Okay, so I'm going to create an interface for that. You don't need to create any class, simply make an interface, and you can simply provide dependency for that. But in the latest version of dependency injection, things going to be very simple. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, if you follow manual dependency injection, then you can go with your own state, means on procedure, but I will do like that. Okay, because it is a simple, and I have to write very less code, and I got the same result. Okay, so I don't need to provide a manual dependency injection. Okay, so I'm going to simply return a retrofit.builder, and after that I have to pass the base URL for that. Okay, so I'm going to create a constant variable for that, for the base URL, and I have to pass a base URL. Okay, and later on we'll pass this, and I'm going to pass that base URL inside that, and I'm going to pass my converter factory. So I'm going to use JSON converter factory. You can also use Mosi converter factory. Okay, Mosi is better than this JSON, because this is that will Mosi is new, and Mosi will provide many type of features that JSON converter factory don't have. And the reason behind why I use this converter factory, because this is simple, okay, and I don't have to write too much code for providing or convert the data or making converter factory for that. Okay, and let's create a function. Okay, before that, because I am going to use my local database and a local server for making API calls. Okay, so I have to specify attribute inside my manifest, that is clear traffic. Okay, and I need to simply pass it as it means cast it as a true. Okay, because that will not going to be check HTTPS request for. Okay, and now I'm going to create a function inside my API service that will going to be a get request. Okay, and inside that get request, as you can see here, I have passed my endpoint URL, that is onboarding. Okay, and I have created simply a function that will be going to suspended function, and inside that suspended function I am going to simply return my response. So for that, now we'll do it later. So first let's I'm going to, as I told you, I am going to simply pass the clear traffic, use clear traffic, and I'm going to make it true. Okay, because this is very important if you run your server as a local server. Okay, so now I need my IP address to make local, because I have created a server and we are going to use Node.js and MongoDB for this project. Okay, so I have created a very basic API for this project. Okay, so for that I need my if you run your local host, then and if you make your API calls throughout your postman, then you don't need to specify your IP address. But if you try to get or post your data, if you try to call your API inside your Android Studio, then you need to provide your IP address first. Okay, and also your port number, and after that you are being eligible to call API. Okay, and now let's run our server and get our first response. Okay, and for that I'm going to run my postman, and let's first check our API is working or not. So as I told you, you don't have to give your IP address for postman. Okay, so let's simply, it's a get API, so you don't have to give any body for that. Okay, so I think I forgot to start my server, so let's do it. So I'm going to open my Visual Studio and simply open terminal, and there is a command called npm start, and that command will be responsible for starting our server. So I need my MongoDB Compass also. So let's start it. Okay, now let's connect this database with our MongoDB. Okay, as you can see here, I have created a furniture DB, and there is two collection over there. First one is home data. We will cover that thing will further videos, but we are going to focus on onboarding section. Okay, so I have to start my server. Okay, so let's write npm start, and let's wait for a minute, and this will, oh, I got some error. So I think I am in the wrong directory. So let's go in our furniture directory first. That will be means backend / furniture shopping. Okay, so I'm going to that directory. So let's write cd and the backend and the furniture shopping, and okay, so now we are in the directory, and now let's write npm start and hit enter. And yeah, we are now going to connect our database, means our server will be going to start. So just wait. Yeah, our server is started now. So now we can go to Postman, and if we make a request, then as you can see here I got the response. Okay, now let's consume this response inside our Android Studio. So first copy all this response, and to make the response inside our Android Studio, there is a plugin called JSON 2, as you can Kotlin to JSON. To install this library, you can simply visit in your Android Studio plugin, and you can install it over there. So now I'm going to create a model, and if I got any response, I simply make a response package for that. And if I make any, means if I have to pass any body, so I simply make a MSG package for that. And I'm going to have all my data classes which I got in a response inside my response package. Okay, so I'm going to name this package as a onboarding response. Okay, and I'm going to pass this onboarding response over there. Okay, and I think I have also written my onboarding endpoint wrong. Okay, so that will be get onboarding. Okay, so we'll fix it later. Okay, now let's create a repository for our onboarding. Okay, and if you have if you have experience network calling inside using retrofit or any other library, then simply compare that how easy it now. Okay, because we have created a generic function for that, and we have to simply pass our API to that generic function, and the rest of the things going to be do that generic function. Okay, we don't have to care about consuming response or showing error or observing anything. Okay, if you have much experience. Okay, so I'm going to simply inject, and if you don't know why I use that inject, then you must need to know how dependency injection work. Okay, so if you want to know, then I can create a simple dependency injection tutorial. So as you can see here, I have created a function get onboarding data, and as you know that function was a generic function, so I simply have to pass that data to that generic function. Okay, and rest of the things going to be handled that generic function. We don't have to care about anything. Okay, so now I'm going to make a function to get onboarding data inside my view model, and we have a scope for our view model, that is view model scope, and we are going to launch that. Okay, and now I'm going to cast our repository inside my view model, and we have to simply call that function inside our view model. Okay, and since we are using flow, so we are not going to observe that thing inside our view model scope. We just have to collect all the datas over there. Okay, so I'm going to use collect latest, and now I'm going to collect it. Okay, so I have used a conditional statement over there, and I'm going to use when for that, and I simply passed it inside that, and that it will be going to return all my remain sealed classes. over there. Okay, so this will be going to be this much easy. Okay, and now I can simply get if the data is successful, I will got all the data inside my api.success. Okay, and now I'm going to simply log all the data. Okay, and let's log it, and I'm going to change the tag for that. Okay, so that will be going to onboarding response, and I'm going to pass the data over there, it dot data. Oh, not like that, we have to dot data. Okay, this thing's called string interpolation, if you don't know. Okay, and now I just simply have to call that function inside my fragment. So let's do it, and I just have to call that function inside my fragment. Okay, so I'm going to use my onboarding view model. Okay, as you can see here, onboarding VM. Okay, so I'm going to use that onboarding VM dot get data. Okay, and this will return some jobs. Okay, so as you can see here, we will use these things later. Okay, but we don't need it right now. So I think we are done with all these things. Okay, so let's recap it again, and now we are ready to launch our project. Okay, so as you can see here, I have provided some dependency for my networking library. Okay, and along with that, I have created some state for that. As you can see here, here is my API service. I need to change the this endpoint URL. Okay, so let's do it. Yeah, and now I have to change one colon over there. Yeah, okay, so now it's fine now. Okay, so both error has been gone, I think. Yeah, and we have created some state for this. As you can see here, response, you know how to create it, and now you know how to make all this state. This is very important. Okay, this will be going to reduce lots of code inside your project. Okay, and this generic function. Okay, this is also a extension function. Okay, so let's close it all, and now let's run our application. We are ready to now run our project. Okay, so as you can see here, we are now successfully run our project. I have skipped the building procedure because we don't need, and I don't face any error. Otherwise I will cover that error also. So as you can see here, I got my response successfully in the run. You can see I am also going to show you in the logcat section. Okay, so we are successfully call our first API inside our furniture app. Okay, so I hope all things will be cleared. Okay, and I have explained everything. So guys, please subscribe my channel now if you like this tutorial. Okay, and in our next video we are going to consume that response and inflate all these things on our UI. Okay, a UI section. Okay, and yeah, we are done with that now. So I hope you like this video. If you do, then please subscribe my channel, and also share with your friends, because most of the people don't know these tricks. Okay, so thank you so much. Bye.